Hi everyone, welcome back and thanks for joining me. Today's card is a fun fold card. As you can see, it folds flat. When you open it up, you have your message that changes on the inside. This is known as a peekaboo card, but I've changed it just a little bit. So it will stand, but as you can see, I'm trying to pull this just a little bit. You'll see there's a little band in there that keeps it from flopping all the way open like the peekaboo card does. So let's get started. So the first thing we need is our scoreboard. And for our base piece, this piece is going to be cut at 5.5 by 11. Again, centimeters will be at the top. We are going to score this at 5.5 on the 11-inch side. Then we will need another piece, same dimensions, 5.5 by 11. This time we're going to score this at 4.25. Next, we will need two pieces, and this will be pattern paper, and these will be cut at 4.25 by 5.25. And I just used the piece of paper just for the pattern, so it'll be on top and bottom. Then we will need one piece at 4.25 by 6.5. And then we will need one piece that is 5 by 7. Now this other piece is 4.75 by 6.75. I'm not going to end up using this. I just didn't like the extra layer on the card, so I did not add that. You can if you want. And then I cut a piece of paper that is 1/2 inch by 11, and that's of the same pattern paper. Then we need one piece at 4.25 by 7, and we are going to score this at 3/8 of an inch. And you're just going to score that on one end. Okay, so we are done with our scoreboard for right now, so we'll move that out of the way. So next we're going to work on the inside of the card. So we're just going to take those two pieces that are the 11 inches, and we're just going to fold on those score lines and then crease them out. When you do the one that's in half, make sure that it is totally lined up when you crease out that fold. So these are your two pieces that you have so far. Now this piece right here, you can do it either you can have the pattern paper on the inside, or you can have the white. I'm doing mine with the white on the inside. So then I have these two pattern pieces, and I'm going to lay these so that they match the pattern. So these are going to be put on the card just on the inside. Okay, so once those are down, I'm just going to take my bone folder and just to push out that glue. And that will be for the inside of the card. Now for the next part, what we're going to do is we're going to cut our rectangle on this piece. The easiest way, if you have a rectangle, you can do it, but it's all the lining up. I think a trimmer works so much easier. So I'm going to put this on my 1/2 inch mark. And then I'm going to score from the 4-inch line down to 1/2. So we're going to do a 1/2 inch border on the bottom of the card. Then you're going to lift it up and you're going to take the fold of the card and put it at 3.5. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to score from the 4-inch mark, cut it from the 4-inch mark down to the 1/2 mark. Then you want to turn your card. Again, you're going to line it up at 1/2, and then you're going to cut between those two cut lines. And we're going to end up doing this process about 4 times on the card. So then take it on the other side, line it up at 1/2, then again just cut between those two cut lines. Then you'll have your rectangle cut out. Now you could take the bottom and do the same thing, but I found that just in case your dimensions are off just the slightest, it's better to close the card like I am and then just go ahead and draw around that frame on the inside and then just cut that out. You just want to make sure this is very straight when you do it. So again, I'm going to take this, but this time I'm just going to line up that pencil mark with the cut line on my trimmer. And then I'm just going to cut this out. This is just so much easier because then you don't have to worry about making sure that it's all lined up with your dies. This is just so much easier to do it this way. So I'm going to make that last cut. And then just pop that out. So that is for the inside piece. And I'm just going to take my pencil. I'm just going to remove any extra pencil marks that are left behind. All right, so we're going to set this piece aside and we're going to do the next piece. So I've put my piece, like, you just want to know what side you want it to be, whichever you want your bottom piece to be. So I'm doing the peach color, and that's the smaller section is going to be at the bottom. So I'm lining up the other end with the other square, and we're going to cut that out again. So we're going to do the same thing. I just want to make sure it's really lined up. And then I'm going to take and make a pencil line through it again. You want to do this on the larger section of this piece. So again, I'm just quickly just going to cut this out. Okay. So right now, this piece will get secured to this piece here. And so when the card closes, you can see that the flap will go underneath the card. So I'm going to put glue just on this one side. Again, this could be the white side or the if you use the color paper. We're going to take that top half and we're just going to glue it to that one side and just line up that window. Because you cut from it, it should line up perfectly. So I'm just turning it over just to making sure it's right. So you can see the squares line up, and I'm just going to crease out that fold. So right now this is what you should have. So I'm going to set it so you can see it. Go ahead and crease out that second fold too. So this is what we should have. So as you can see, as you open and close it, the image will change. So if you have this part, so far you're doing good. So now for the other piece, it is going to get glued to this piece here. And you want to make sure that if you're going to have a colored side, because you're going to see it, that you fold it so that the color is on the inside. So let me show you. So I glued on there, you're going to see the purple is showing. And then when the card opens, the purple is going to get hidden by the piece that's going to fall in front of it. So we're going to put glue just on the flap. So I'm just going to open the card all the way up. And we're going to put glue on just this 3/8 inch flap that we made. And then you're going to secure it on the top. So just leave your card laid out and just secure it to this little edge right here. And then you want to make sure that it's lined up. Now it is just a little bit smaller than the width of the card so that it does stay hidden inside. So it should look just like that, and then when you open it, you'll see that the other piece will go in front of it and to hide that purple. Now this piece is going to be on the front. Now you can do this either first or you can do it now. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line it up. I'm not going to glue it down yet. I'm going to hold it in place, flip it over, and one more time we're going to cut out that last rectangle. So I'm going to grab the trimmer and do the same thing, line up those lines. It's so much easier to cut on one layer than it is two also. Okay, so that is done. So this will be the front of the card, and this piece will sit right on here. So we will glue this piece down. Now again, you could use your double-sided tape if you wanted, or quick dry glue, or any kind of glue that you wanted. So I'm just going to line this up, making sure the rectangle is lined up and covered. And I'm just going to open the card up all the way, just going to make sure it's lined up, and then just push out that glue. Okay, now for the extra piece. So I'm just going to leave the card sitting so you have this shape. And when it's closed, it'll look like this. So what I'm going to do, before we do that, we're going to work on this little strip. This is what's going to hold it down. So you want to make sure that it goes under that little flap. And that's the flap that's going to move up and down the card. And you just don't want it too tight because you don't want it to stop the card from moving. So you want to make sure that you give it just a little bit of clearance on the side, just a tiny bit. So I'm just going to fold these in, and we're actually going to glue it to the back of this. So I'm just going to put some tape on here just so I can show you what it's going to look like. So now when the card opens, as you can see, it will slide in. But I want to make sure that the fold doesn't catch on it. So I'm going to move this just a little bit. You want to make sure that the strip is just below the fold line when the card is laying flat. That way the fold won't catch on it and it'll still work out perfectly. So this is where I'm going to leave it. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop up that tape. And it doesn't need that long. You can cut these off. You don't need to have them go the clearance of the card. So you probably only need this to be about 6 or 7 inches long if you don't have a 12-inch piece. I'm just going to put glue. Make sure this is straight. Okay, and just put glue just on each side of that. And that's just to hold it down. And then I'm going to grab my scissors, and I'm just going to cut a little bit of this off because, again, it doesn't need to be that long. So as you can see, they stick out just a little bit, but it doesn't interfere with the card. And I like that it just keeps the card together. Right, so now I was going to use the pink, but I'm not going to. So I'm just going to use the purple. And I realize it's just a little bit big, so I'm going to just trim it off a little bit, just so it's got that nice border all the way around it. So I'm going to cut this down to 4 3/4. And this will be the back of the card, so the back piece will get glued down. So we're going to put glue on this entire section. And then just turn it over and just line it up and make sure it has an even border all the way around. And then that is the basic card itself. I just really like the way this is, and I just like that it doesn't pull apart. Okay, now for the embellishments. So I've already cut out some letters, and I've used the wasabi tape to line them up and hold them down just to make it easier. So for the inside of the card, I'm going to put just a little mark, just so I know my border line. And then I'm going to open it up. So you're going to have to take that flap back out just for a second. You can just pull it out. And then just open the card so it looks like this. Now that I know where my triangle is going to be, where I put my pencil marks, I'm going to line these up. And I have Happy Mother's Day. And you just want to make sure that they're inside that window. And then just go ahead and close the card, and you can see if you're lined up and how much room you have. And that looks pretty good. So I'm going to glue these down. So I'm just going to use my quick grab glue, and I'm just putting dots all around this. And I'm just going to put these back down, take that tape off. And stick that last one down. And then go ahead and erase the pencil marks. And then again, just push that piece back in underneath that flap. Now this, because the way it raises, the letters shouldn't get in the way. So as you can see, it says Happy Mother's Day, and then when you open it up. So now we're just going to open it like that, and we're going to do the next set of words. And you could put anything on here. You could have 2 different messages. You can have a character there. You could have anything you wanted. I'm putting "You are the..." And again, I just want to line these up. You don't need to pencil mark this one because you can do this right as the card's open. It'll lay flat. You are the best. So I'm going to glue those right there. Again, you can do a stamp. If you have a stamp, just stamp it. You could stamp it prior. I just don't have any, I didn't have any stamps that I liked, so I just cut out letters and did it this way. But either way would work. So we'll do the "You are the" right there. And when you pull with your wasabi tape, make sure your letters are down so that you don't pull them all the way off. And then we'll do the "best" right underneath it. Just like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. So as you can see, you've got your Happy Mother's Day, and then "You are the best." So next, I have this front for the embellishment. So I'm going to put this on. I actually have 2 of them. I'm going to put my little doggy on the front, but the purple is really strong, so I'm going to take this extra piece and I'm going to put it on, but I think I'm going to put it on the back and just do it the opposite direction, just so it gives it just a little bit of extra variety on the card. So that's how we're going to do the front of the card. You could put something on the inside. I'm not going to, but I'll leave that blank. You could write a message in there. You could have all your kids write a message to your grandma. You could write a message to your mom. So I'm going to line this up, and I'm going to glue this onto the lighter color piece. This would be cute if you had different sizes. You could do this too. That would be really cute. And then we'll put him right on the center. You could also do an embellishment on this, make it a little bit thicker, but I'm not going to just because of the postage. Don't want to add any weight to this card. I'm going to turn it so that the point is at the top, and then just glue that down. And that looks good right about there. Next, I'm going to take this punch. It's Martha Stewart. I think I've had it since, let's just say I've had it for a very, very, very long time. And I'm just going to cut out some of these hearts. And then I'm just going to put these just around the front, just to show just a little bit more love. And then I'm going to do some on the inside on the signs. And that looks good. So that is it. That is the card that we made today. I want to thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Look for more contests coming. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I hope to see you real soon. Bye-bye.